This video covers most of the basics of Python so that at least a beginner can get started with Python. Hi, आदित्य here. अगर आप मुझे नहीं जानते तो मैंने अपने बारे में इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में डिटेल्स दिया हुआ है, आप जाके उन्हें चेक कर सकते हैं। और अगर आप इस चैनल पर नए हैं तो डू कंसिडर सब्सक्राइबिंग टू दिस चैनल, क्योंकि मैं अपलोड करते रहूँगा इस चैनल पर कंप्यूटर साइंस से रिलेटेड वीडियोस। बिफोर गेटिंग डायरेक्टली इनटू द वीडियो, आप एक नोटबुक और एक पेन अपने पास रख लें और अपना पीसी में एनाकोंडा नेविगेटर से जुपिटर सॉफ्टवेयर को खोल के रख लें। जुपिटर नोटबुक, नॉट द जुपिटर लैब। अगर आपको नहीं पता कि एनाकोंडा क्या है, एनाकोंडा नेविगेटर, या फिर उसको इंस्टॉल कैसे करते हैं, तो मैंने उसके लिए ऑलरेडी एक वीडियो बना के रखा हुआ है। इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में मैं उसका भी लिंक दे दूँगा। सो विदाउट एनी मोर डिले लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। जो भी पॉइंट्स मैं बताऊंगा आप उन पॉइंट्स को नोट कीजिएगा ताकि आप बाद में ना भूलें, और अलॉन्ग विथ मी एज आई एम डूइंग आप भी अपने पीसी पर ट्राई करेंगे, ठीक है? चलिए, ऑल द बेस्ट, इट विल स्टार्ट इन।
So today we'll be talking about some basic concepts of Python. So these are the 10 points that I have picked out. This does not cover the whole of Python, but actually this can be useful in many scenarios when we'll be coding some questions, when we'll be picking up some questions and coding them in the further videos. So let us first start with printing into the console. We can write the print statement as print A, B, C, something like this. And it is quite easy. But what if we write two print statements together? Like we remove this and write DEF. So we see that every time we write a print statement, it appends a new line to each print statement. That means that when the print statement ends, it ends with a new line, so that each print statement is being printed on separate lines. So what if we want to print these two together? So we can use something like END, and then we can give this. By default, the END attribute has a value of new line. So this is the same as before, but if we remove this new line, then what we get is this. Okay, it is printed in a single line. What if we want to separate ABC and DEF just by a single space? So we give it here, and it is separated. So this is how we write the print statements, and we can there may be other ways also to write a print statement. Suppose let's say print like name, and then I want to write my name. So this is another way of writing a print statement. Let us run this. See, so this comma operator just concatenates both the string by a space in between, giving a space in between. So name, then there is a space, and then Aditya. So this is how the print statement works. We'll see this again further when we are doing some problems of Python. We'll use these things further. So the next thing we have to learn is about dynamically typed language. This Python is actually a dynamically typed language, and what that means is, suppose we are writing A is equal to 5, okay, and then we are printing the value of A. See, we are getting the output as 5. We did not specify that A is of type integer or float or whatever it is. It is dynamically typed. Dynamically typed means that it automatically guesses, or yes, it automatically guesses the data type based on the value we have given. So if we write 5.0, it will print 5.0. And suppose if you want to check what is the data type of this, then we write type of A. So it is float. Now let us remove this 0.0, it will become int. Now if we write this, it will become string. See, str string. So it is a dynamically typed language. That means we do not need to specify. We don't need to write int A5 or something like that. It automatically guesses the data type of the variable that we are based on the value that we are providing. So point 2 is over. Now let's see how we write comments in Python. So these are just the building blocks for what we will be doing next. We'll be solving problems, many problems on the basics of Python. So for that, we need to at least know this many of the things, the 10 points that I've written above, these 10 points. So the third is comments in Python. So we write a comment by giving a hash. Hash anything is a comment. This won't affect the program at all. This and what is the use of comments? The main use of comments is for the code readability. Suppose you and your friends are working in a project, and you have written a piece of code, and that piece of code you want to explain to your friends that what that particular piece of code does. So you can write a comment explaining everything. Like, let me write, this is a variable with value 5 and name A. So A 5, you can write it this way, so it does not affect the program in any way. Fine, we are done with the comments as well. So now the next thing we'll be going is on the strings. The strings in Python can be, let me show you. Suppose I wrote a variable called name. Name can be Aditya Anand. Let us check the type of it, type of name, and also let us print the name once. The type is string and the name is whatever I have given the value to the variable name. So what if I just write here single quotes? Same, no effect. So in Python we can either use double quotes or we can use single quotes, and both are string values. String, this is also a string. So well and good. The next thing is deleting variables. See, there might be a scenario when you are writing a really huge program and your memory is not sufficient enough to hold everything. So you might want to delete some of the variables that you will not be using ahead in the future. Suppose like, let me give you an example. A is equal to 5. Then we write B is equal to A plus 10, right? And we want to print B. So we want to print B, but we do not need A anymore, right? So we can delete A. But let me first show you the output of this, 15. Now, when we want to delete A, we can simply write del of A. Well and good. Now, if you want to print A and B, it will throw an error. It will say that A does not exist because you have already deleted A. See, name A is not defined. So these deletion can be very useful and useful in terms of space complexity as well. So you do not want to use much of your space, and you want to code your program in a minimal amount of space. So you can keep deleting variables from time to time. Those variables, you only delete those variables which you will not be needing ahead. If you need it ahead, then there is no point of deletion. So this is done. Now the next thing we'll talk about is taking user inputs. Okay, fine. So suppose we are writing print enter your name, and name is assigned to input of, this is how we take the input, and we want to print the name. So enter your name, it gives us a field. We'll write, we can write anything. So it gives my name, or I can write it in a better way. We can use a string concatenation here. Yes, see, this will be a little bit better. Don't need to run again, we just need to press enter here. So my name is Aditya Anand. So this taking input is done. There is another way to take input. We do not need to write this print statement at all. We can directly copy this thing and paste it here. So along with taking the input, it can also be it can also act as a print statement before taking any input. So let us run this. Enter your name. My name is Aditya Anand, and I'll press enter. You can see my name is Aditya Anand. So this is how we take input from the console. Now where were we? Taking user inputs. Fine. So the next thing is if-else conditions, and then we'll be going to loops. Okay, fine. Suppose there is a situation where okay, so before that, let me show you how I have written these things in a Jupyter notebook. Suppose like you are here and you want to write something here, then just go to the code section and click on markdown. When you have clicked on markdown, or you may click on heading, anyone. I clicked on markdown, and I have just like comments. Okay, this is the biggest header. Like if you write question, just give a space between the hash and the whatever you want to write. So this is the biggest header. So when I run this, I'll get something like this as I have written here. Okay, and again I want to write what is my question. I want to write my question here. So as you keep adding the number of hashes, your font becomes smaller for this type of markdown writings. So I'll give 2 hashes or maybe 3 hashes here, and I'll write something print your age if your age is greater than 30, let's say. Fine, run. So this is smaller than this because we have used 3 hashes here, and if you want to edit it again, just double click here, you'll get it back. So but press the run button again. Yes. So how do we write such kind of Python codes, like print your age? If your age is greater than 30, if your age is less than or maybe equal to 30, then you do not need to print anything, right? So first of all, we need to take age as an input. Now after that, you need to check if condition. You need to give an if condition. If the age is greater than 30, then I want to print my age. Print my age is age, right? Else we do not need to do anything. If we are not doing anything, then we do not need to write the else condition. Enter your age, let's say 25, it will print nothing. Okay, I need to typecast it, because whatever input is being taken from the terminal is in the form of string. If I want it to be integer, I will typecast that thing into integer. Whatever input is coming, I will typecast into integer, and this is how typecasting is done. We'll again see in the further videos when we'll be talking about typecasting, especially about typecasting, that how different things can be typecasted, different data types can be typecasted. So this should work fine now. 25, so nothing is printed. Yes, if I write 31, then it will print. Suppose I write 31, fine. If I write 30, again nothing will be printed. You can try this on your own. See, if you don't try these things along with me, you will forget this thing. There will be no use of looking at the videos. So keep trying on your own as well, so that as we progress, you also progress. So the next thing about if else, I can write some other complex if else's, like not complex, but that shows if else, if and else conditions, like print your age. If your age is greater than 30, print adult. If your age is greater than 30, and teen if age is between say 18 to 30, and kid if kid otherwise. Fine. So how can we write this? We'll take the input age as we have written here. We have to typecast the input whatever we are getting, because whatever input comes from the console, it is in the form of a string, so we need to convert it to integer. This is how conversion is done. Okay, so if age is greater than 30, then we directly need to print what? We need to print adult as per the given condition. This is not real life scenario. Now there is something about indentation as well. If I write else if here, this elif, first of all, else if is written as elif in Python. So if I write else if here, this else if is inside this if condition. In Python we do not use brackets as we use in C. Like in C we have written if some condition, let's say some condition, then we used to write like this, right? Whatever we want to do there, printf or whatever. But since we do not have this thing in Python, so we have indentation. Indentation means we give a colon and then we give a tab. Here automatically the tab is taken, but sometimes in some editor, like if you are coding in Notepad or something, the tab will automatically not be taken, so you have to explicitly give a tab. So the else if should be written here in the line of if, such that it does not goes inside the if condition. So else if, what is the condition? If age is greater than 18, and we write simply as and in Python, and age is less than equal to 30, then we print teen. Else condition, else what we do is we print kid. So let us see how it works. Age, suppose say 25, run. Sorry, 25, and press enter. So it gives us teen, right? And this is not a valid Python code. Let us just delete it. Edit, delete cell. Now again, if we run this and let's say we are giving 14, and we press enter, we see that the output is kid. So it seems like today this much is sufficient, and we'll continue looping and other things from tomorrow. So bye bye, take care, and thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, hit the like and subscribe button, and stay tuned, keep supporting, guys. So these were some of the things that we covered in the previous video. So today we'll be talking about some of the operators, loopings, and these 6 points we'll be talking about today. So operators, AND operator, how to write an AND operator in Python. So first of all, what is an AND operator? AND operator says that, suppose like if we write A and B, then A should, this whole condition, suppose let us assign this to C. So C is true only if both A and B are true. If any one of these A or B is false, then C will be false. So this, I can comment it. So let us see how we can use this and condition. Suppose like if A is less than 5 and A is, let's say, less than 3, then it's just an example. Then we'll say print yes, or else we will print no. So A should be, if this condition and this condition both are true, then only we will be printing yes. If any one of these condition is false, then we'll be printing no. So let us see with some examples. Suppose if we write A is equal to 7, then A is not less than 5, right? 7 is not less than 5, so it will directly print no. It won't even check this condition. It won't even check this condition. First condition is false, then it will directly go to no. So let us just execute this. So see where the output is no. But if we write something like 4, so first condition is true because 4 is less than 5, and the second condition is false. Since the first condition is true, it will check the second condition as well. So the second condition is false, hence it will again print no. Now if we write 2 here, then it will definitely print yes because both the conditions are satisfied. Yes, right? So this is how the AND operator works. There is a similar to this, there is another operator OR, but there are some differences. So C is assigned to A or B. Here A and B are conditions, just conditions like this. Okay, so C is assigned to A or B simply means that C will be true if any one of A or B is true. If both A and B are false, then C will be false. Let us write the same thing again, and we give OR condition here, and we'll try out the 3 possible values that we have tried out earlier. 7. So A is 7 is less than 5, false, but it has to check this also because if this becomes true, then it will print yes. So 7 is less than 3, false, so it will definitely print no here. No. Okay, so now if now 7 is less than 5, false, so it will, the AND condition, if it was the AND condition, then it will only check this, and if this condition A is less than 5 is false, then it will not check for this. But OR condition will check for this as well, because if this condition is true, then it will print yes, right? Now let us see for 4. 4 is less than 5, true, right? So it won't check for this, it will directly print yes, because in OR condition, any one of the condition is true, then the whole condition becomes true. So yes, right? And if A is 2, then it is definitely true because both of the conditions will satisfy. So this was the basic difference between AND and OR. Now we have the third thing called NOT. NOT, what it does is, whatever is the condition, if the condition returns true, then NOT of that condition will return false, and if the condition returns false, then NOT of that condition will return true. Okay, let us see this with an example. Suppose we are doing the same thing again. And we are writing here NOT. Okay, NOT is written in this way. So if A is equal to 2, then 2 is less than 5, that is true, right? And NOT of true is false. So since this whole condition becomes false, it will go to the else statement and it will print no, right? Yes. Now if we write here 5 in place of 2, 5 is less than 5, no, that is not true. So since this condition is false, the NOT of this condition will become true, and since this whole thing become true, so it will go inside the if and it will print yes. Yes, so you can try out different values for this and explore it yourself. You'll get many answers with respect to this. Okay, now let's talk about some conditional operators. In Python, less than or equal to is written as less than equal to, similar to C. Okay, and greater than or equal to is written as greater than equal to. Is equal to is written as double equal to, and a single equal to means it is the assignment operator. That means whatever is in the RHS will be right hand side, it will be assigned to left hand side. Okay, whatever is the value or the variable in the right hand side, the value or the variable will the value of the variable or maybe the constant will be assigned to the variable in the left hand side. So that is the assignment operator. And greater than is simply greater than is simply greater than, and less than is simply less than. All of these will be annotated properly, and it will be given in the description. You can find these things in the description with proper annotations. So conditional operator, I guess it is done. If I'm missing something, kindly comment down below in the description, in the comment section, and let me know. Now talking about mathematical operators. Okay, so insert new cell below. Mathematical operators, this is plus, this is multiplication, this is division, this is modulus. I'll explain all of these. This is subtraction, and this is integer division, and again this is power. Okay, so insert cell below. Okay, now let me write print 2 plus 3, right? This will definitely print 5. Sorry, definitely print 5. Fine. If we write print 2 minus 3, it will give an answer of -1. And if we write print 2 into 3, it will give 6. And if we write print 2 modulus of 3, then it will print 2, because when 2 is divided by 3, so 3 times 0 is 3 and the remainder is 2, so it will give 2 as the remainder. This modulus operator gives the remainder. If we write here 7, then it will give a remainder of 1. Okay, 1. So you can try this out. And what am I missing again? Division. Print of 1 by 3. What it will return is 0.33, and this is a normal floating point division. But if I write something like print 1 integer division 3, so it will give me 0. It won't print this floating part. It won't give me this floating part. It will directly give me the integer part of whatever was the result of the division. So the last thing that is remaining is power. So 2 power of 3, that is 8, so it will print 8. And if you want to do a square root, you can just give the power of 1 by 2, and similar kind of math will happen here. Power of 1 by 2, which will give around 1.414. Let us run this and let us see what is the output. See, 5 minus 1, 6, 1, 0.33. This gives 0 because this does not consider the floating point. This portion, this gives 0 directly. And 2 to the power 3 is 8, and 2 to the under root 2, that is 2 to the power of half, is equal to 1.414, right? So well and good, we are done with the part 8th part. Now let's go to looping. But before going into the looping part, let us just familiarize ourselves with lists. So what is a list? A list is a collection of objects, just like an array, but the objects may not be of a similar type. For example, let's say we write my list that contains apple, or it may contain 5, or it may contain 5.0. This is of type string, this is of type int, and this is of type float. So let us print my list and see whether this works or not. Yes, so a list can hold different values of different data types. So, and we can keep increasing the size of the list. Suppose if first of all we can directly write like my list for initialization purpose. We can initialize my list to an empty list. Then what if we want to add some item to this my list? So my list dot append. This append is the keyword to add items at the end of the list. Okay, so I want to append, let's say, apple, and then I want to print my list again. So here it is. If I want to append 5, so add 5 to the end of the list, then we'll write my list dot append 5, and let's print my list. See, even if I don't write here print like this, it works fine, because this is a Jupyter notebook, and when it will execute this without a print, it will directly give the value of whatever is there in the my list. Even if I write print, it will do the same. But this won't work with Spider or any different kind of Python compilers. We have to write print whenever we want to print something. So see, 5 is added after apple at the end of the list, right? So we can follow we can add more items following this append function, right? Now if we want to delete something from the list, let's say my list, let's say just create a list 1 2 3 4 5, and let's write here A, B and C. This much will be fine. So suppose if you want to delete, let's say the number 3, right? The number 3 is at C. First of all, let us get the indices of this. So this is at the 0th index, this is at index 1, this is at index 2, and so on. Okay, so if you want to access the 4th index, what is there at the 4th index? Is at 0th index, 1th index, 2nd index, 3rd index, and the 4th index, right? So my list 4, let us see what does it return. It returns 5, right? So it's working fine. Now if we want to delete the element at the 4th index, what we can do is my list dot pop 4. So whatever is there at the 4th index, it will delete. So 5 will be deleted. So let's print my list again. So 5 is deleted, right? If we don't pass any parameters here, suppose we directly write it like this as simply pop, then it will delete the end element, the last element of the list. Okay, so by this we'll see that C is deleted. So C is deleted. If we want to remove something by its name, then what we can do is my list dot remove. Okay, sorry, not this. My list dot remove, and we can write, let's say A. So it will remove the element A. Let's print my list. So A is deleted. So in this way we can remove or pop elements from a list. And there is another way to pop elements from the list, that is using the delete keyword that we have already used earlier. To delete a variable, we can also delete a particular index from a list using this method. Suppose say my list index 1 I want to delete, so 0th index, 1th index, right? So element 2 will be deleted. Let's print my list now. So element 2 will be deleted. Fine. So these are some of the operations of a list. So a list is mutable. Mutable means it can be changed by a set of program or a set of code. Like these, in this way we can remove, and it is a set of code that is removing. We are not explicitly going into the list and we are deleting by ourselves. So that is the property of mutability. Okay, and we can add elements. We can add and remove elements. So that is why using a code. So that is why a list is said to be mutable. The similar tuple is also a similar kind of thing, as we have written here, tuple. Okay, tuple is also a similar kind of thing, but tuple is immutable. There is no function that you can add into a tuple or you can remove from a tuple. Once you have written a tuple, that's it. For example, this, let me copy it here and let me write here my tuple. Okay, you cannot use append function or delete function here. Okay, since this my tuple is immutable. And so, but the way in which you access the elements of a tuple is same as that of a list. Let's say my tuple, my tuple, let's say index 3. So at index 3 the element 4 is present, right? 0 1 2 3, the element 4 is present, so it should return 4. And in list we used to use the square brackets, but in tuple we use the parentheses, the round brackets. So it is returning element 4, well and good. So that is the basic difference between a list and a tuple. When we don't want any external line of code to remove or add elements into a set of things, then into a set of set of values, then we use this tuple. If we want that the set of variables, the set of values can be changed, then we can use list in place of tuples. Mostly list is used in most of the cases because we want to change the things based on whatever the program is doing, but sometimes tuple may also be required. So this is a tuple, and above what we have shown is a list. Now there is something I have not written here, I will write it. There is something called as sets as well. Okay, let me run this first. Fine. There is something called as set as well. So what is a set? A set is just a kind of a list, but it does not store duplicate values. For example, my list, I can write 2 1 and 2, right? There are 1 2 and 3. These two are duplicate values, and these two are also duplicate values. Fine, but it works fine with, see, if I print my list, then it works fine. It can store duplicate values, but I cannot do this with sets. My set, the set is written using curly braces, and if I put the exact same thing here, my set, then see 1, 2 and 3, it only takes unique values. It does not take any duplicates. So that is a property of a set. Fine. So we are done with list, tuples and sets. Now we are left with dictionary. Here we are left with dictionaries. So what is a dictionary? A dictionary is a kind of a list. Let me write first. Let's say okay. So, and okay, let's just run this first. We use dictionary sometimes. See, what is a dictionary? First of all, it has a key and it has a value corresponding to that particular key. Okay, so this is a dictionary. We'll explore dictionary maybe in some further videos in much detail, because this topic needs to be explored. So for now, I'm just showing it like what is a dictionary, so that you are at least familiar with this term. Okay, so my dictionary will show you this, and my dictionary of name will give you Aditya directly. See, fine. So this is how a dictionary works. Now let's go into the looping part, because this video is already becoming lengthy. So let's finish these parts quickly so that we can go into the questions and we can explore all these concepts there. Without solving problems, the concepts will fade away. So it's better to solve problems, and then by solving the problems, learning the concept becomes easier. So for the looping part, there are different kind of loops. So first, let me start with the while loop. While, let's say I said int, I don't need to write int, I is equal to 0, while I is less than 10, right? I want to print the value of I, and I want to increment I as well. So I plus plus or plus plus I doesn't work with Python. We need to increment it by a particular value. It can also be written as I is equal to I plus 1, same thing. So I'll explain it to you. First, let us run. So from 0 to 9, right? First, the value of I was 0. Then the condition was checked. Is 0 less than 10? Yes, 0 is less than 10. Then print I. So 0 was printed. And then the value of I was, see, assignment always works from right hand side to the left hand side. So first we'll see what is there in the right hand side. So the value of I was 0, first of all, 0 plus 1. Then the value of I becomes 1. Again, we will go here. We don't need to go here, okay? The loop runs from here to here only. The loop section is this much only. So it will check the condition again. 1 is less than 10. It will print 1 again. 1 plus 1, the value of I becomes 2, and so on up to 9. When the value of I is 9, so 9 is less than 10, that is true. So it will print 9. Now it will increment 9 plus 1, that becomes 10. So the value of I is 10. Now 10 is less than 10. No, that is false. So it won't run further. It will just break out from here. Okay. So if you print the value of I outside the loop, you will see that the value 10 is also printed, because I was already incremented here, but while checking the condition fails and the loop is no more executed. So if you print I here, you'll get the value of 10. See, you got the value of 10 as well, right? So this was one type of loop. Another type of loop is the for loop. Okay, the basic syntax of for loop is for I in range. So the range, for I in range, the range takes 3 parameters. One, the initial value of I. The second parameter is what should be the value before which I should be terminated. Like I have written 10 here, I should be less than 10, so I will write 10 here. So it will go up to less than 10. Okay. And the third value is the step, by how much it should increment. So it should increment by a value of 1. So I've written 1 here, right? And if I write print I here, so it will print from 0 to 9. So this is one kind of for loop. Now if I remove this step part, it also works fine, because the default value of step is 1. The default value taken by the step is always 1. So it gives the same output again. Let us try to change some steps. Suppose if we write 2, then it will just print the even numbers. See. And suppose if I write 3, similar things will happen. So if I write 3, it will get incremented by 3 from 0 to 3, 3 to 6, and 3 to 9. Okay, let me just write 3 and show you. Fine. So if we discard this information of stepping, so by default the step size is 1 always, so it will be incremented by 1. The first parameter is 0. We could have initialized it with 3, so it goes from 3 to less than 10. Okay, so remember this is not up to 10, it is less than 10. Now if I remove this 3 as well and just keep the 10, now it will run from 0 to 9 again, because the default value of initialization is 0. See, 0 to 9 again. Now you cannot remove this 10 part, otherwise it will become an infinite loop. So we need to give a condition where to stop. So this is one kind of this is the second this is one kind of for loop. The other for loop can be while we are looping through the lists. Suppose say my list, I'll just copy it from above. Yeah, let's copy this one. So suppose say my list is this, right? So I can loop over my list saying for I in range len of my list. Okay, so I will range from 0 to the length of my list. What is the length of my list? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the length of my list is 5. So it will go from 0 to less than 5, that is 4. And since I have not written any step here, so it will increment by 1. So let us print I and also my list of I. So it will print 0, 2, then I will be 1, 1, 1 and so on. It will keep printing. Let's see the output here. Okay, the index is 0, the value is 2, the index is 1, the value is 1. You can compare it from here. The index is 2, the value is 2, the index is 3, the value is 3, and the index is 4, the value is 3 again. So this can be one way of looping over a list. Another way can be, this is the same list, I can write for value in my list. So it will be looping over all the values in the my list, and I can print the value and I can see. So these are the values of the my list. Okay, so these two are the methods to loop or iterate over a list. So these were some of the looping techniques, and so here we conclude with the looping part. So what else is left? We have done looping, we have done these things. Dictionary needs to be explored further, and sorting in ascending and descending order. Fine. So if we have something like say my list 2, 3, 1, 4, 7 and let's say 19 and then say 11 and then say 10. So if you want to sort means to arrange in an ascending order. Okay, so if we want to sort the list, then we can simply write my list dot sort. I have not printed it, my list. So see, it is sorted in ascending order. Now if you want to sort this in descending order, then what we can do, we can write it like, if we add here dot reverse reverse, then it should work, I guess. No, attribute has no type reverse. Fine, I guess here reverse reverse is equal to true. Yes, this works fine. So it is sorted in descending order. Okay, so this is how we can sort a list in ascending or descending order. This does not only works for integer values, it also works for strings as well. For example, my list apple, carrot and banana, and then I can write something like Aditya, anything. So so let's see the output of this. Let's write this, let's copy it. Okay, let's remove the reverse is equal to true. Let's see how it prints in the ascending order. So first Aditya is printed, then apple is printed, then banana, then carrot. The reason behind this is, first it will compare the first letters of each string. Okay, and then once, see, both the first letters of these two strings are same, that is A, then it will compare the second element, the second letter of both the strings. So D is alphabetically smaller than P, right? So it will be sorted in this order. So this is how sorting is done. Then after sorting, we were left with typecasting. So typecasting can be easy. Suppose let's say A is equal to 5.0. Let's check the type of A. So the type of A should be float, right? If we want to convert it into let's say A is assigned to int of A. Now let's print A. a and then type of a, right? So this is called typecasting. This 5.0 will be converted to 5, and let's just write here 5.2 or something for better clarity. So it will be converted to 5. It will ignore completely this part, okay? So the type is still float, and it will print the type of a here as int because it was typecasted to int. Okay, see 5 and the class is int. Well and good. Now we can also convert this to string. Suppose say I want, now the value of a is already 5, okay? It's not 5.2 anymore. So if we will convert it to string, then it will be 5 only, but the 5 will be of type string. See 5, but it is of type string. So this is how typecasting is done. You might be wondering, suppose like, can string be converted into float or integers or not? Let's say a is 5.2, right? And I want to convert a to float of a. So it works fine, but there are some problems which we will see later. Print a and type of a. So 5.2 and the class is float. It is converted. This was actually a string which was converted to float. So well and good. But what if we write here something like this? This is also a string, right? But if you want to convert it to float, this will throw an error saying that this section has alphabets in it and it cannot be converted to a floating point number. So that is exactly what the error is showing here. So strings can be converted to integer and floats, but there should not be any alphabets included with it. So this was all about typecasting. And next we'll move to infinite loops, the break and the continue statement. Okay, how can we write an infinite loop? So first of all, a loop that runs forever is called an infinite loop, whose conditions are always true. Okay, so if I write while 1, and let's say I just do I is equal to 0, and I will write print I, and then I will write I plus equal to 1. This is same as I is equal to I plus 1 that we have written above here, see. Okay, so this will run forever, and we have to interrupt the kernel then, because see why this will run forever is the condition inside the while loop is 1, and let us first try something else. Wait, insert cell below. Any number except 0 is treated as true. Okay, in most of the programming languages the number 0 is treated as false, and any number, may it be positive or may it be negative, is always treated as true. Let us say this: if -1, okay, then print true. That means if this condition is valid, then it will go inside the if condition, else it will not go inside the if condition, and it will go into the f condition. Print, yes, f. So this is -1, or there may be any other number except 0. Okay, so it will always return t. Let us try something else like 10, okay, or even 1. So it is always true, but as soon as we write here 0, this condition becomes false, and it will go to the else section and it will print f. See, fine. So that is why we can write here any number except 0. It will always be true, and this loop will keep on running forever. So it keeps printing and it will never stop. It has already printed this many numbers and it's increasing. So I need to stop the kernel for now. Interrupt. So I've interrupted the kernel. Keyboard interrupt, right? Now we need if there may be scenarios where we need some infinite loops, but not actually infinite. The condition may be always true until and unless we find a value. Okay, so let me write here if inside the while loop. Okay, if I is equal to 20, then I want to break here. Break means stop the execution right here. Okay, no need to continue the loop after a break statement is encountered. And when will the break statement be encountered? If this condition holds true, if I becomes equal to 20. Okay, so let us run this now. See, up to 20 it prints, and as soon as it encounters that I is equal to 20, it breaks. So this is the use of break statement. Now there can be something called continue statement. Okay, so let me write it here. If I is equal to 10, then I just want to continue. Continue. What this continue statement does is, as soon as this continue statement is encountered, it will not check anything here, okay, and it will not check anything here, and it will directly uh, go into the next iteration. It will not check anything here. So there is a problem with it. This will also go in an infinite loop. The reason is, let us run this and let's see first. See, after 9 it is not printing anything, and the execution has not stopped, and it will never stop. So the reason, we need to interrupt first. The reason behind this is, it encounters a continue statement, and then it does not check anything, and it starts the loop again, and it goes into the next iteration again. So if it does not check anything, how will it, if it does not do anything below the continue statement after the 9th iteration, how will I be incremented? I will never be incremented because it is below the continue statement, right? I will never be incremented, and if I is never incremented and it never reaches 20, it will, the while loop will never break. Okay, so to solve this issue, just we need to put this here. Okay, this issue will be solved because this increment section is not below, it's not below the continue statement anymore. So the continue statement will only ignore this much of the section. Okay, so let us run this. Well and good, the number 10 is not printed because the print statement is below the continue statement, and when we encounter 10 we directly continue to the next iteration. So this was all about break and continue in a simple way. Now what we are left is, we are left with this, we are done, fine. So this was all about this video. It's been a long video, so it's from the next tutorial onwards, from the next video we'll be solving problems, some minor problems, not much major, minor problems related with Python, and we'll be exploring these concepts in more depth there.
So that was all for today's video guys. Thank you very much for watching, और I hope कि आपको बहुत सारा value मिला उस video से. If you got some value from this video, do consider giving it a like, और अगर आपने अभी तक इस channel को subscribe नहीं किया है तो do consider subscribing to this channel, and also give me some feedbacks in the comment because I love getting comments and I'll reply to each and every comment. Thank you.